All right, so I have regrouped with Stuart. Stuart, welcome back to the vlog.
Si, senor.
So, Stuart, there's actually a couple of cool cars here. There's I think this is an E46 M3 GTR.
E46 M3 GTR. Yes.
That is an E46 M3 GTR. And that is very cool. And I believe that's, is that an E9?
Yes, that's a
E9 race car?
3.0 CSL.
Okay.
So,
You know what? Let me flip the camera around and let me show you guys these cars. All right, Mr. Encyclopedia, what do you got for us?
so this is a March 84G. The chassis are built by March in England, but they had Porsche 956 or 962 engines in them. So they are 3.2 liter water-cooled, not air-cooled, water-cooled twin turbo flat sixes, or single turbo flat sixes, my bad. So this one is actually a really famous livery in the 80s. This is a Creepy Crawly livery. Creepy Crawly is one of those pool robots that you hook up to the pump in your pool and you stick it down there and it vacuums the pool for you. But these were super cool. This came out of the IMSA's GTP era, the Camel GT Championship. So technically these are Group C cars. They're super cool, man. They make a great noise having that Porsche Flat 6 in them. They make a really good noise. And over here's an 83G. So this is an 83G, earlier chassis, same motor. This is the Spirit of Miami car. You can tell University of Miami colors.
Ah, holy shit, you're right.
So this is a Spirit of Miami car, farm store sponsored. My dad actually, I was texting him earlier, he remembers watching both of these cars race.
And
Yeah.
Holy shit, look at the size of this diffuser.
Yep,
That is a deep diffuser.
yep,
Wow. Massive wing, too.
yeah.
Adjustable.
Oil cooler up here.
That's the oil cooler?
That's the oil cooler. I think
Oh,
that's
wow.
that's a transaxle oil cooler.
More than likely, yeah.
And your big single exhaust coming off the turbo.
Right there.
Yep.
There's the oil cooler.
And at one point, these did have exhaust blown diffusers, so the exhaust would actually dump down into the diffuser, creating a low pressure area which would actually suck the car down to the road. They banned that actually at some point because it was so effective. Intakes for the brakes. Carburetor.
Holy crap. That's the engine intake.
Yep.
And look, it's like a giant NACA duct, how the air comes over the roof and the laminar airflow dumps down into the intake.
And you'll notice a very famous name on top of this car.
Oh, wow.
Emerson
Fittipaldi.
Fittipaldi.
Wow.
Yep. Formula One drivers, as you know, some Formula One drivers do today, would often jump ship from Formula One and go race sports cars. It was kind of seen as not being so serious, you know, being fun, a lot like, you know, somebody we know has done today, Alonso. It would often come and race sports cars. Or
You missed the
Indy
Alonso
cars.
autograph session, by the way. So did I.
Whatever, we'll get it at Sebring. Let's go check out some of the other stuff they got.
Hey, let's check out the BMW.
Yep.
This E46.
Yep. Oh, you want to check out the E40?
I remember they homologated, they made 20 road-going versions of this car.
25.
25. And this was actually the car, not this car, but the M3 GTR was what was featured on Most Wanted.
Yes.
Remember Need for Speed Most Wanted?
Yep.
Love that game.
This actual car right here is actually in Total Immersion Racing, the
Really?
video game for the PlayStation 2, which I still have a copy of. And I
Oh.
still play the hell out of it because it's a great game, actually. Despite being almost 15 years old now, still a great, great video game.
Hey, if it's a good game, you can play it forever,
Yes.
you know?
And you'll notice a couple of names on the side of this car.
Hans Stuck?
Hans Stuck.
No way.
Yep. Boris Said, who looks a bit like...
What did Boris say?
He looks a bit like, what's his face from Dodgeball?
I can't remember.
The dude with the fro from Dodgeball. He kind of looks like him.
I wasn't in Dodgeball.
And Bill Auberly.
I'm just full of jokes. I'm just full of jokes, aren't I?
Bro.
So funny. And what else we got here?
So, Bill Auberlin.
Bill Arberlin.
Bill Auberlin is actually racing a car in that garage over there.
Oh,
He's
really?
racing for Turner Motorsport today.
Okay.
Yep, Bill Auberlin's, he's been in the sport a long time.
Okay.
So, and this is back when all GT cars still had H-pattern transmissions.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a
60
962 GT2 around here, a 996 GT2
Yep.
with a manual transmission.
So this was before we got to the sequential slap shifters.
Yeah.
That became so common in the mid-2000s. And now, of course, everything's paddle shift, you know.
Makes it easier. You can have a cup of coffee while you're driving on the racetrack.
Yeah, exactly.
You remember that? You remember this one?
You can do it. Paddle shifters are great because you can do it like old-fashioned race car drivers. You can smoke a cigarette and have a drink.
Exactly. The way back when men were men. You know.
I gotta shift up.
There you go.
I gotta shift down. You know. And
this
is a little more.
Look at the freaking. This must be like. Like a 6-inch over fender or something, like 6-inch fender flare.
And I like how they didn't try to blend it into the body.
It's
they
just there.
Said, here's your over fender.
Like, let me hold on.
Take it or leave it.
Like, look at this thing.
Hand for scale.
Hand for scale.
I have decent sized hands. I have man hands.
They're literally glued on. You can see the glue sticking out there. They just stuck them on. They're just like, oh, send it.
It works. You know. It works.
Hey, look who I ran into. It's John from the car meet last night with the 668 horsepower BMW 550i. So he's going to be putting.
I was like, but it's a V8 four-door manual
cars now.
BMW.
So yeah, cool to run into him while I'm checking out a BMW for all things. All right, so back to the race cars. Stuart, we have here a BMW E9 CSL
3.0.
3.0,
driven by Dick Yark.
Dick Yark. It says Russell though.
Russell's the other driver.
Oh, so Dick is on the other side?
Yes.
Okay.
Jimmy Russell. Apparently the story behind this car was Dick York actually used this as a daily driver for a little while.
He daily drove?
Apparently he daily drove it for a little while.
Also, this is it's a modified production car, but did he daily drive it and then turn into a race car?
No, it was a race car and then it became a daily driver.
Okay.
So, but this car, famous for European touring cars, racing Cologne Capris and stuff like that. BMW wanted to expand their motorsports program in America. So what they did is they said, well, we've got this 3-liter CSL that's doing great in Germany and in Europe. See what we can do in America. So 1976, they brought it here for the 24 Hours of Daytona. It won.
There you go.
Then in 1976, they took it to Sebring.
And it won.
Yep.
So if you go to Sebring, there's a giant row of all the winning manufacturers and the year they won up all on the pit lane, on the garages, and BMW's got that 76.
Yep. And they called this car the Batmobile.
The Batmobile?
For the rear wing.
Yeah, if you look here.
Because it's wide, it's swoopy, it's got all these arches and the swooping spoiler, and that's why they called it the Batmobile.
Oh, cool! And I love all these stripes that run. The M stripes, the silver paint job with the M stripes. They just run all around the car. And I've actually noticed on some modern BMWs, they've started including that livery as a factory, like the M5 competition. I think the M2 competition. It's a factory option. Kind of expensive too.
Makes a great noise too.
Oh, I can imagine.
You weren't there to watch all of these gorgeous cars go around the track. David wanted to go to the paddock. I stayed for purposes of science and listened to every single one of these cars go full bore around the track.
Science.
This thing sounds so good.
Oh, I can imagine.
Big old individual throttle body, 3 liters, straight 6, and he came out of the horseshoe and put his foot into it, and it's just cool. I grew up watching this car race. I have a scale model of this car on my bar. So this was Seth Neiman, Lonnie Pechnick, Patrick Lawn, Johannes van Overbeek, and Darren Law, who is the owner of Flying Lizard. The owner drove his own car, and they were very, 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 very successful. So this is a 996 911 GT3 RSR. Is the technical designation.
Yes, sir.
For it. So this is a 3.8 liter flat 6, no turbos, with a sequential gearbox. And
see if we can find some cool shit to see.
There's your sequential shift lever.
There it is. A little hard to see.
And there's your old school stack racing display, and it looks mostly like a 911 inside. The dashboard. Yeah,
but it's a carbon fiber dashboard. Oh well,
yes.
It looks like carbon fiber pieces, but not completely carbon fiber.
Probably. This car makes a great noise. This was one of the loudest cars on track when all of these cars were out there. You could hear this car above everything. And unlike a lot of the guys out there in their, very expensive old racing cars, him and that M3 we're going to go see in a second over there, the E36, they were going for it. I mean, they were racing each other.
Oh man, is that... Dude, look at this thing. This, yeah, holy shit.
Porsche started the 935 program, and they kind of gave up on it after a while. They worked their magic with it, and they said, we can only do so much with it. Let's give it to the privateers and see what the privateers can do. So one of those privateers was Kramer. Kramer modified the body a little bit, gave it what we call the signature Moby Dick shape. So they gave it the spoiler, the aerodynamic flares, the big side skirts, and my favorite, turbofans.
I know, this looks so freaking nuts.
Turbofans.
Look at that. So it looks like the BBS RS, but forced into
They
like
are BBS wheels behind here.
concave style. Yep. It looks like they're designed to draw air into the wheel to bring
Not to draw air in, evacuate air out.
Ah, that's right, okay.
So what they would actually do is the fans are twisted like that on the inside. They actually twist like that. And what it does is as the wheel spins, it extracts hot air from the wheel and spits it out.
Damn, that's cool.
So they actually, at some point in time, I believe they banned these because they gave an aerodynamic advantage. I'd actually have to read up
Beyond
on
just cooling the brakes.
Yes, I'm not sure about that anymore. It's been a long time since I've read any literature on that.
Okay,
But,
I know that when air is rushing past the car, the wheel well kind of adds a lot of drag, so maybe that
High pressure air on top of the wheel well lifts the car up. That's why you see cars with vents on top of the wheel wells.
Right. Well, no, that's for a different reason. But the air rushing this way kind of acts as like a, when it hits the tire, it acts like a wall. It adds a lot of drag.
Yep,
and so when air starts pulling into there, it's like a parachute. So perhaps the air coming out of the wheel could offset some of that air and prevent it from going in there.
Yep. And what's cool about the 935 is it's basically a 911 underneath. It's a very, very, very wild 911. So you look inside of it, it's a
911.
It's a 911. It's a 911. It's a very nice 911, but it's a 911.
Oh, yeah.
And it has a 911 engine, albeit with two very huge turbochargers on it. So these were about...
What, the KKK turbos?
Yeah, triple K turbos.
Triple K turbos.
So these were anywhere between 600 and I've heard stories of 1,200 horsepower.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Qualifying trim. In the 80s, anything's possible.
Hey, I've got a friend with a 900 horsepower twin turbo 993.
You told me about that before.
That's a pretty fast car.
I'll have to get a video with him. So,
slant nose.
Signature slant nose. Those are the headlights down there. So signature slant nose. You got your headlights, and this is typical. This is what defines a Porsche Kremer body kit, is the lights down in the bumper with those corner screens on them and the very, very aggressive slant nose. That's partly how you can tell a Kremer from a factory 935 per se.
There you go.
So, did you get a shot of the turbochargers in the back?
The turbochargers are visible?
Yes, they are.
Let's go find them.
On later Kremer 935s, the turbochargers are visible for cooling. Because turbos create a lot of heat, the turbos hang right there.
Oh, wow, there they are. Yeah.
And there were some 935s where they would cut this middle section of the bumper out completely and hang the turbos out of the bumper.
That's one way to do it.
And they're very quiet, believe it or not. This car is actually very quiet.
Yeah,
I think
turbos
my
take a
Scion
lot
is
of
louder.
Turbos take a lot of noise out of the equation.
They do. Speaking of 993s,
Hey, look at that.
993 GT2, very tasty.
Look at this wing. Holy shit.
Yeah.
What the hell?
That's
What's
signature 911
so?
wing.
I think these are intakes for
Yes.
something.
Yep.
For the engine.
Nope.
What do they
So,
do?
yeah, they do engine cooling, but it's also to kind of feed air around the intercooler.
Okay, so that feeds air into the intercooler. This feeds air around the intercooler.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have a giant thing here with a giant gurney flap for downforce.
Yes.
Onto the E36.
Onto the E36. So this guy was having it out with that Flying Lizard Porsche over there. E36 M3 Evo. And of course, GT rules, they had to homologate it, which is where we get the E36 M3 Evo road car from, is from this. They had to homologate it in order to race it. You know.
And you know what? Even on the inside, you know what? They take away a lot of the E46-ness of it. Like you still got the dashboard that's pointed at the driver. Looks like they eliminated the glove box, but the cluster is just, well, it's been limited. It's been reduced to just that rev counter there, and there's not much else. It's all like instead of a passenger seat, there's that giant bar there, which I assume is for some sort of a crash structure. See that housing right there?
Which housing?
See that right there? Right over there?
Yes.
I assume that's part of like some crash structure that isn't, what do you think is in there?
Actually, you know what? If that's what I think it is, I believe it's exhaust.
It's part of the exhaust?
Yep, it is.
Hey, there you go. Side exit exhaust. Yeah, you're right, because you know what? It doesn't look like it's metal necessarily. It looks more like a heat shield.
It's like that heat shielding Kevlar material.
Okay.
And behind us, we got another 996.
Yes, this is actually the, I guess I got here a little early, and this is the 996 GT2 that I was talking about. These cars weren't here initially.
No, they all had to be brought out. Yep. This one is actually a couple of drivers that are on the grid today drove this car, Spencer Papelli and Andy Lally. Oh, wow, just take the door off.
This man just took the door off.
You want to feel it?
Dude, you know, while the door's off, let's take a look inside. This massive crane. Look at this thing.
Structures.
That is some serious.
Yeah.
That's a serious roll cage. Like you could take a serious hit there. Recaro seat. I was checking this car earlier, but it's always nice to get even closer look at it. May I pick up the door?
It's fantastic.
Oh, I don't know. You're gonna have to ask the owner.
Who's the owner?
The guy right there standing behind.
The gentleman with the black shirt.
Yep.
May I pick up the door?
Pick up the door.
May I? All right.
Yeah, you want me to grab it while you film it?
Oh, sure. Yes, please. Here.
Now it started to roar.
A door roar.
Yeah.
Door roar.
Okay, so.
So this is the
Pick it
door
up by
from
the
the
frame?
996.
Oh my God.
About how much does it weigh?
See if I can get the right balance on it. I'm holding it up with my finger. It weighs like 10 pounds. I'm holding up a door with my finger. The last time I picked up a door, I needed like 3 people.
Here.
All right, you got it?
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
That's wild.
That is.
So how much like
That is wild.
off the car does that add to the?
And just clips right in. Does the door open normally or no? Okay.
The weight, as much weight off of it, because they're going to make you add weight
There you go.
to get to a minimum
Hazardous
weight.
Motorsports. All right, guys, so I'm getting a little thirsty, a little hungry, so we're just going to run through a few more of these classic race cars. First being, this is a Daytona prototype, is that right?
Yep, this is a Daytona prototype. So this is a Riley BMW Daytona prototype. It had an S65 V10 in it.
An S65 V10?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes, this has
So
a
this
V10
had
in
a
it.
500 horsepower. Well, in road trim it's 500. What is it in
It's
race
a little
trim?
more than 500 horsepower. I'm not quite sure how much power it produces, but it is an S65 V10 in here. This car has won the 24 Hours of Daytona multiple times.
Oh, wow.
So this is where we've come from with DPI.
Okay.
So this was-
So this is like the predecessor to DPI.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. A couple of Brumos cars back here.
All right, let's check out the Brumos cars.
That's why.
There's one in particular you need to look at. This one right here. So this is a 1973 911 RSR. This is driven by Hurley Haywood, one of the greatest American racing drivers that ever lived. This thing is awesome. It makes a fantastic noise. It has super wide fenders. And this car has won the 24 Hours of Daytona as well.
Oh, wow.
Super cool. There's a couple of 956s we can go check out back there. 962s,
Cool.
956s.
There's an orange 911 here too as well.
Yep, this is a 2-liter 911. This is 71. He was having a little problem on track today. He said if he got it, I went and actually talked to the driver. He said if it came above 4,500 RPM, it just started to bog and bog and bog, and it didn't want to go anywhere.
Oh, okay, maybe it has something fueling issue or something.
He said it thought it was a spark issue.
Okay, yeah, fuel or ignition
Yeah,
probably.
he said it sounded like an ignition problem. 962s and 956s. They're essentially the same car, a couple differences. You ever get up and try? So this is a 962. This was driven by Derek Bell, Al Holbert, and Chris Robinson. That Lowenbrow livery. And these are water-cooled 3.2-liter single-turbo flat sixes. Big, huge turbos on them. And these are IMSA GTP cars, which was the American version of Group C. They're all Group C cars. These things are super cool. That
Oh,
split.
this was driven by Preston Hen, wasn't it?
Yep. So swap shop livery on this one, the split swap shop livery, which is kind of famous in the 80s a little bit. This is a 962. There's only a few minor differences between 956s and 962s. Really, as long as you know what year the car came from, you know whether it's a 956 or a 962. So, one over here. And that is a first year 962. They, of course, debuted in Daytona in 1984. So this would probably be one of the first 3 chassis numbers, probably between 101 and 104. I wouldn't know, maybe, that's something you'd have to look up.
And of course, there's the Rothmans Porsche.
Yep, this car.
Rothmans 962.
This is a 962 and not a 956. Rothmans did liveries on both 956s and 962s. However, the 956 was driven by Hurley Haywood, not Bob Wallach and Jochen Mass. So this car was driven by Bob Wallach, Jochen Mass, Daytona, 1984 or 85, and still kind of scratched up, paint flaking off. Preserve it like it is, man.
Good, patina.
Preserve it like it is. These are cool, cool cars. They make a hell of a noise. They really do.
All right, guys, so I'm thirsty, I'm hungry. We're gonna
Go
run
get
back,
the cooler.
find the cooler, and
I know where it
get
is.
some food. So yes, that ends this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll check you guys out later. See ya. Bye.